there are like 5 main things that during this lockdown we really feel like we're adjusting to all the time, you know, especially number one, not having a nanny.
Yeah.
A nanny / housekeeper / maid, you know.
Good. I'm not learning, I'm washing the dishes.
There are a few things that have had to change up during this time that we're spending at home. Things that we've become very used to. We wouldn't be so used to back in New York, but they're very Qatar specific, Qatar lifestyle specific. And I gotta admit, we're real bougie, so just keep that in mind. And I do feel guilty when I think about, missing these things and feeling like we have to make adjustments to these things,
Yeah, I don't think it's bougie though. I just think that when you move internationally, there's a different standard of living, right? So in New York, we wouldn't have some of these things because it just would be unheard of and you wouldn't necessarily need them. Here, we do need certain things that we wouldn't need back home. So I don't know if it's bougie or it's just a different way to live or, just a different lifestyle because of...
Some of the things are bougie, like...
All right, I'm okay with that. Okay.
Valeting at like the movie theater.
Okay, but we don't ever valet at the movie theater.
And the hospital. But I mean, we valet every time.
It's real convenient to valet at the hospital, though. I mean, who wouldn't want to valet at a hospital?
I valet at like the college when I go to it's.
Okay, so there's a set of conveniences here. I mean, it's convenient. I mean, who doesn't want to valet? I mean. Every New Yorker, we're from New York, would love to not have to find parking or have to, parallel park. So if you could valet certain places, I'm game.
Certain places, every place. No, but it's just like, I guess those things if it was back in New York, there's so many things that, I mean, it's not like we never valeted in New York, but like just the way things are just a way of life here, it just, I don't know, it just makes me feel kind of bougie sometimes, but and to think like there are things we have to make adjustments for. You also got your random old piles of clothes everywhere. At least they're separated into whites and colors, right? We're doing endless laundry. I'm sure there's laundry in here. Yeah, there's stuff in there. Probably something in here. Of course. Always. I mean, I'm surprised this is in such a good condition. We're generally neat people, but you're not gonna have this, hair clippers sitting there for 2 days. See what the dish is talking about. You know what I mean? It's just, this is what happens. This is life when we don't have the nanny with our bougie selves. I guess a good thing would be to just go into the process of even finding a nanny, like when we first did it, because we had Sage. Like, what did you do?
So I put out an ad, but then I also asked around to a lot of my colleagues and people that already had nannies.
Because everyone who's working who has kids have a nanny.
Yeah,
we're both going back to work.
Here it's incredibly hard not to have a nanny. It seems like it shouldn't be, but because of the hours that we work, because we work in schools, our hours are incredibly early. Both of us have to be to work very early. It's so early that it makes it difficult to get the kids ready for their own school and get them breakfast and get them ready in the morning. But then also the kids finish before both of us finish work, and so we need someone that can be here to collect them from the nursery or from the bus, because we can't always do that, especially with after school or in our cases because we're admin meetings that we randomly have that we have no control over sometimes.
And in the beginning, I mean, there wasn't any nursery or anything like that. It was just Sage was just really young and we had to go to work, so we needed someone at home. And I mean, we've had a time with nannies,
Yeah.
So did you interview the first nanny?
Yeah, so what we did was we put in an ad. I had a couple of recommendations and then we interviewed, we called them over to the house and we just, had a list of questions about things that they could do, what kind of cooking they could do.
Didn't we interview in the mall and
Yeah, we also did. We went to the mall because we didn't want people in the house at one point, and we interviewed at the mall to be able to find someone that that would be able to fit what our expectations were, our requirements were. And that was relatively easy, surprisingly.
Yeah, the first nanny we didn't have for very long. She was on like for a real short time.
Yeah, because she decided to go ATV and
No, that was the second one. Remember we had one for a very short amount of time?
I think she was just temporary though.
Okay.
I think she was temporary until we could find someone else. So the one that we had, more permanent.
Or something.
I don't know.
Yeah.
More permanently, she ended up getting into an accident. This is when Sage was very young, and she was good, by all accounts. I mean, she was watching Sage. She would be there early in the morning. She was on time.
She was good. Filipino.
She was Filipino.
She was
Filipino.
nice.
She was really good. Seemed really good with Sage, and kept the household clean, and did the laundry, did all the things that she needed to do. But she went ATVing, which is big out here, to go
in
and
the desert,
do bashing, go and take some cars out, take some trucks out, and she got into a really bad accident and ended up in the hospital. Because it was such an unexpected accident that she had, we didn't have an alternate, we didn't have a line, someone lined up to kind of take her place, and we were both working full-time, so we ended up putting Sage into her first nursery when she was about 6 or 7 months old.
About 6 months. So most of the nannies here, well, not most, but back then, you mostly see Filipino nannies. Now now you see a lot of African nannies. You see Indian nannies. You still see Filipino, but what do we know? We were recommended, that they were really good, and our experiences were great. Even now.
There's a price difference too, which is just horrible, because depending on your nationality, it will depend on how much you can get paid. So here Filipinos command a higher salary for this, for nannies and childcare and maid service, and if you are any other nationality, then you can pay less, which obviously is horrible. We've always paid the top notch, because it's really important to us that they understand how much we value their service and we value what they're doing, and they in turn will treat our family like their family. And
yes, and a lot of them will have family themselves, have their own kids. So to be coming into your house and to be watching your kid and taking care of your family, we hold that in very high regard. So a lot of people don't treat their nannies well. They treat them like help. To us, it's someone who's doing a job that's helping us, so that person is here for a job just like we're here for a job. But from my experience, this is not how a lot of people see it. That's them. Oh, that's how it happened. So after her, we had the temporary, and that's the person who recommended Mercy. Yes, I think, Sarah was the person after the nanny who injured her hand. And she was good. She, we only had her for a small amount of time, but she was good, and, it was sad to see her go. And she recommended Mercy, and Mercy deserves her own, her own segment. She ended up being just a part of our family, just awesome,
So much so that she is in the Philippines now, and we talk to her frequently. The kids still send her videos. She sends us videos. We see pictures of her. If she ever needs anything, emergency wise, she knows that she always can access, even though she doesn't work with us anymore.
Yeah, she was so reliable, young girl, and she would come here very early. We had a really cool schedule. We used her when we needed her, so she could have her time to do what she needed to do with her life. And it worked out perfect. She would come here very early, make sure the kids got to school, pick them up, bring them home. We come home, she'd be here, and we just understood each other. It was cool, man. We really, really liked Mercy, man. And we're talking about it in past tense because, like I said, we just had some situations with nannies. The first time the nanny injured her hand, and then with Mercy, well, I guess you can explain why she's not here now.
Well, she ran into a situation where we sent her home to go visit her family for the summer holiday, because nannies in maids all get 1 month off during the summer, and so we purchased a ticket for her to go home. She went home, and unfortunately, the way Qatar is set up, you have to have the correct paperwork to do anything here.
Now, just before going on, we don't sponsor her. Okay, so a lot of people sponsor their nannies and the nanny will live with them. We've never wanted to have a live-in nanny, so she's sponsored by a company, by someone else. So we did pay for her ticket to go home, but we don't pay for like her boarding and stuff like that. So she does that through someone else.
Yeah, but because of that, they messed up something on her paperwork, and when it came time for her to return back in August, when we actually came back from summer holiday, she was held at the airport and she wasn't able to come back, and they told her it was because her paperwork was not correct and it needed to be updated and changed by her sponsor. Now, that would have been a very easy process if we were her sponsor, because we could have went and just updated it, but her sponsor was unwilling to do so. And because of that, and because of, the not caring, what predicament she was in, and the fact that this is her livelihood, they wouldn't update her paperwork or do anything really to help her, and so she pretty much got stuck in the Philippines, which is
It sucks, man, because it was just like so sudden. Like, we had her for 2 years, right? 2 years when she was working with us, and then we're like, okay, she's gonna go home, see her family, she has a child there, and it's gonna be nice. She gets to come back, and just like that, it's like she can't come back, and we haven't seen her since.
What you gonna tell to Mercy? What you gonna tell to Mercy, Hudson? Now, Mercy, love you.
I love you.
So now that leads us to Joy.
Yeah, so Joy was recommended by a mom that I know in our tower, who said she plays with her child a lot and went to school with her daughter, actually. And she recommended, because she heard the situation and she heard that we didn't have a nanny, and she knows, what our working situation is. And so she recommended a company that provides nannies. Joy came in and she pretty much picked up right away. She did everything that we needed her to do. She, shadowed me and looked to see the things that I wanted her to do in the house, how I did things, so that she could learn it pretty quickly. But it was a steep learning curve, and it was a fast learning curve for her, because we had to go right back to work in a couple days, and so she didn't have much time to figure it all out. Luckily, she did already know our kids, because she worked in the building with a different family, as I said, and so she would see us at the pool, and so she's seen us quite a few times, and she knew Mercy, so she was familiar with our family and familiar with the kids, which actually made it a lot easier of a transition for us. With us both going back to work and having to leave our kid with someone, who we didn't know super well, but to at least feel like she knows them and they knew her and they felt comfortable with her, really helped a lot.